Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 7th ever Flutter Brigade Roundtable. I am your host, Fluttershy1989, but most of you already know that. And joining me once again are my bastard bitch co-hosts, Ed.
Hello, everyone. Good to be back as always. And once again, just like last week, that is also a lie.
No, it's true. And my other bastard bitch co-host, Mond.
Yeah, let's just go on with the ponies already.
Ponies? Where? I don't see any. Anyways, our topic for this week is Season 3 as a whole, because it's sketchy. But before we get into that, as per usual, we're going to do a breakdown of the most recent episode, which, of course, is Trade You. So, guys, take it away.
Mond, would you like to go first, since you usually let me go first?
Fine. I did not look too highly on the episode. As you guys know, I didn't give the first episode that Scott Sunborn did Some Pony to Watch Over Me. I didn't give that a high rating either, but I thought this one was kind of worse than that one. And my reasoning for that was that basically it just seemed like a lot of plot parts were all discombobulated. They sort of, I saw what he was sort of doing in his writing by splitting the ponies into three groups of two, and I thought it kind of worked, but like at the same time, first of all, I thought that there was a lot of weird, overly explanatory dialogue at the beginning that, was like, oh my god, we're here, and, blah, 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 and this is the place, and blah, blah, blah. And, it was just, I don't know how to explain it. You'd have to watch it, and you'd sort of see, that they were explaining too much than what seemed natural. Plus, I thought that each of the plot strands were kind of either rehashed from old episodes or were just kind of paced so badly that they shouldn't have even been put in there. Like the Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash thing, I thought, first of all, Rainbow Dash we saw a more compassionate side of her this season. Then all of a sudden she doesn't even give a crap about what Fluttershy wants to do. And Fluttershy goes back to being a doormat. It's it seems like Scott Sunborn doesn't even see the progression that these characters had made. They regressed in this episode. But that's not the only problem I had with that part of the plot. I had a problem with the fact that they did the chain of exchange sort of thing where you see in a lot of video games, a lot of those search and find video games where you have to find this object, then trade it to this person, and they'll give you this object, and and then you keep trading objects until you actually get something that you need to get. And I think that works well with video games and other stuff, but in this episode it just seemed what was the point in the end? She didn't even get the book. She almost sent one of her best friends off to be sold into slavery. I mean, that's been a running joke so far after this episode that slavery is completely legal in Equestria or something like that because of what Rainbow Dash was basically going to do to have the Orthoros be trained by Fluttershy for that person. But it just seemed it seemed so pointless. And then don't make me even mention Rarity and Applejack. That just seemed like friggin' Look Before You Sleep all over again. Just this time they were bitching about oh, I want that weird pie tin that got cooked, that cooked something 5 seconds faster. Oh my god. It's who gives a fuck, Applejack? You're annoying now. And Rarity's being petty, and she's like, oh, I want that antique brooch, and it's they look exactly the same. What the hell's the point? And then the Pinky and Twilight thing, I think that kind of worked in that like Twilight actually learned something in the end. But like Pinky was just being kind of weird that whole episode because she's I don't know, she's trying to like inflate her own ego because, you know, and help Twilight at the same time, but she really wasn't there to help Twilight so much. I don't know. It just seemed so like that's the only the only way I can describe it. I didn't like it at all. Like I thought it was bland, boring. I mean, the only good part was the ending in that it was actually heartwarming, but like it seemed like there was so much forced stuff in there that all that other stuff ruined the episode for me. And I gave it in the end, I gave it the lowest rating I've ever given an episode in the entire series, a 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. You're crazy, man. Crazy. I just don't see. Well, I can kind of see some of the things you're saying, but not really. I mean, I didn't think it was a spectacular episode, but I thought it was passable. I gave it a 7. Well, 7.5 actually, because it's a pretty good episode. I mean, yeah, the trade concept's been done before, most notably in The Legend of Zelda and other games, but still, it seemed kind of pointless to a point, but then again, the episode was meant to be like a filler episode anyway. So if you look at it from that standpoint, it wasn't that bad. It did what it needed to do. Plus, shippers around the world love it because we got like Flutter shipping and Pinky and Twilight shipping and Rarity and Applejack shipping and it's just lots of shipping. Ed, what are your thoughts?
On the shipping part, I've always been pretty much anti-shipping. I mean, not really anti-shipping. It's just not my thing. But that's just it. You said it was a filler episode. We'll deal with that later. This is not the time. But getting back to the subject, like this, you said it was a filler episode, and you're right, it was. But we've had good filler episodes before. Unfortunately, this just wasn't one of them. This felt very much. It was such a filler episode that you could tell it was one. It felt like it was a placeholder episode. This season could have done easily without this episode. Nothing memorable happened. We already know the main 6 are great friends. Yeah, we get it. Their bonds of friendship have been tested thousands of times before. We've known this since season 1. They're destined to be together forever. Great. Why are you going to put any cheap, cliched force kind of like, test their, like, fighting over what items they want to trade or whatever? Or, like, no, I want to get this pan. It cooks stuff 5 seconds faster, Rarity. You don't understand. You're being unreasonable. It's like, no, I want to buy this brooch. Like, who cares? They're both pointless objects, And then on top of that, the shipping thing was so obvious. It was just pandering to the fan base. It was just pitiful. You got Flutterdash. You've got Rarity and Applejack. You've got Twilight and Pinkie Pie. I mean, come on. It's obviously there just for the fans. There's no substance to it. I mean, it felt like Scott Sunborn wasn't even trying. It's like he just put an episode there to fill his quota. It's like, oh, that's it. I did my 2 episodes for the season. I'm done. I'm going. This is boring. I don't have any creativity here. The episode was boring. It didn't go anywhere. Like, what are they doing? They're at a trade fair. It might as well have been called Season 4, Episode 22, The Main 6 Visit the Flea Market. I mean, what happened here?
Or Season 4 Antiques Roadshow.
Yeah, it might have been. Okay, it's just, I'm Mark Wahlberg, and we're here in Equestria for this special edition of Antiques Roadshow. Oh, no, snooze fest. I'm sorry. There's nothing happened here. I mean, I kept looking for some element of, it doesn't even have to have a story. I was looking for at least good character interaction, and there were bits here and there, but nothing really truly memorable, and it just was so boring. I don't know what else to say. There's so little I can say on this episode. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Scott Sunborn, I didn't like your first episode that much. But compared to this, I like Some Pony to Watch Over Me a lot better than this episode. At least that episode has something new to show us. We got a new setting. We got the equestrian swamp setting. We got the Cajun ponies. We got the Chimera, which is pretty cool. I mean, some parts of it were funny, like with Scootaloo in the cabinet, and all that stuff. It's like, no, and all that stuff. That's hilarious, and all that. This episode, there was nothing funny in it. And then the whole thing with Rainbow Dash getting the book and almost wanting to trade Fluttershy away for who knows how long in Manhattan so she could help train that Orthros with that other mare there. I mean, she almost didn't care. It took her like half a minute to realize, wait a minute, I'm losing my best friend over this. This isn't worth it. she should have realized much faster. Wait a minute, no, this isn't worth the trade. In the end, it all worked out, but it just felt so forced and contrived. And this episode, I don't even think I laughed once. I mean, I just kept staring at it blandly. It's like, wow. This episode's disappointing. I mean, Scott, where's your inspiration? Where's your creativity? I feel like you're just working this episode to get a paycheck, like on this show. Like you're just there to make money. Like you don't really care what you're working on. We've had such an influx of new writers in this season, and whenever you get a bunch of new writers like that, there's bound to be changes that you notice that are different. You may not agree with all of them, but that doesn't mean they don't necessarily be bad changes. And for the most part, most of the new writers this season have been great. Scott Sunborn is the one noticeable exception. He needs to go, and I hope he doesn't come back for season 5.
Yeah, I was going to say Natasha Levenger and like Noelle Benvenuti and even Josh Haber were all better than this guy. This guy does not know how to write for the show.
No, he doesn't. And so I didn't give it quite as low of a score as Mon did, but I gave it my lowest score in a long time. I gave it a 6.5 out of 10, which ties Tradia with Games, Ponies Play, and Spike at Your Service for the second worst episode of the entire series. The only episode worse than this, you have to go all the way back to season 1, episode 8, Look Before You Sleep. It doesn't get much worse than this in MLP. I mean, granted, it's still watchable, but barely. But I mean, if you compare it to half the other crap that's out there for animation nowadays, yeah, it's still, even the worst MLP episode is better than most of the crap out there, which is testament how good the show is overall. But still, with MLP's high standards, an episode like this really sinks to the bottom of the pack. I'm sorry, Scott needs to go. I hope he doesn't come back for season 5. This episode gets a 6.5, and yeah, I mean, hopefully the last 4 episodes of the season will be better. I have a feeling they will be based on what I've read, but this episode, I mean, I'm just glad that we're done with it. It was pitiful, really.
I just find it funny that both of his episodes you guys gave low ass ratings, and I gave them much higher. It's weird because usually I'm the one that gives the low ass ratings and you're the ones giving the high ass ratings, but in this case it's totally opposite. Because again, I just don't see. I mean, I can kind of see where you guys are coming from, but at the same time, I never saw it anything more than just the filler episode that it was. And for being the filler episode that it was, like I said earlier, it did the job it needed to do. And it was great to see, like, classic Dash. Like, whatever. And Fluttershy, like, she's just that good of a friend. She's pretty much willing to do whatever it takes to make her friends happy, as she has in the past. Even though she's come a long way, and from not being a doormat and stuff, but she still sinks back into it just because that's her personality. It always has been. So, and besides, you guys missed another big lesson that was in there, and that's the fact that sentimental value is really useless in the real world. It only means something to you, and you guys completely missed that lesson because at the very beginning when Rainbow Dash tried to trade her horseshoe, she thought it was worth more than it really was, but then again, sentimental value only, which doesn't really mean anything. And even
I never said that. Yeah, I never said that there weren't good lessons in there. I just thought that they were overshadowed by a lot of other flaws that I noticed.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm just saying, it might not have been a perfect episode, but I still think you guys were being more harsh on it than whatever. If you want to talk awful episodes, you got to talk daring don't. Then we get into awful.
That's a whole nother can of worms.
Barging don't and her sketchiness. Anyways, moving away from this episode talk because you guys are gee. Let's get into our main topic here, which is season 3, which was pretty awful in itself. So, I mean, my main question right now, because I'm not on a script right now, because I was too lazy to write one, and that plus I haven't been feeling overly great, so I just been sleeping a lot. But my main question is, why do you guys think season 3 was so bad compared to the rest of them?
I didn't think it was bad. I mean, comparatively, it wasn't the strongest season that MLP has had, but I thought it still had a number of good episodes. I thought that at least a good part of the first half of it was okay. I know a lot of people are going to disagree. But I thought the Crystal Empire was actually not that bad of a two-parter. It wasn't the strongest, but I definitely don't think it was bad. But I mean, like, I think that near the end when they got Spike at your service and Games Ponies play, yeah, that's where it got a little bit. But like, I have to disagree. I didn't think it was bad. I just thought it was kind of, it was fair. It was okay. But so I can't really answer the question because I don't exactly agree with the premise.
I don't see how you praise it so much, considering out of the entire season, there's only 2 episodes I really remember, and that was Sleepless in Ponyville, which is by far the best episode ever made. And well, the series finale, I can't really forget that, even though I didn't really agree with it. It's still one that I remember right offhand. And then, of course, Magic Duel, that was okay too. But like the rest of them, they were just forgettable. Like it seemed like they didn't even really try at all for season 3 because they knew it was going to be a short season. So they're like, screw it, we'll just make up for it later by making a movie, and then we'll have a better season next year. That's what it felt like to me. I mean, for God's sakes, the comic books had better stories that would have made for better episodes in season 3 than the actual season 3 episodes themselves. Ed, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I agree with you to a point, but I disagree with you as well. I would say I'm kind of in between both you and Mon. Like Mon's more really positive about it, and you're more really pessimistic about it. I'm right in the middle. Like I'd say like season 3 is obviously the weakest of the 4 seasons, but I think there was more than just 2 good episodes in it. I just think what really hurt it was how short the season was, and then the proportion of bad episodes or kind of less than decent episodes compared to good episodes was kind of like swayed in a negative angle. But one thing I would say is we definitely noticed Amy Keating Rogers' departure that season, because look what happened when she came back. Oh man, she gave us great episodes, but while she was gone, I mean, M.A. Larson did his part, but he could only do so much. And we had the new writer Corey Powell, and she made Sleepless in Ponyville, which is pretty good episode, one of the best ones ever made. Yeah. But then like without Amy, we kind of really noticed there was this loss in quality. Plus, Megan was just taking over for the director and on all that the storyboard director, I believe it was, or whatever, something like that. And she didn't have that position previously, so there were changes right off the bat. Like, the opener, the Crystal Empire. There's no question that was the weakest opening we've ever had. I would personally, I thought it had a lot more potential. I thought King Sombra looked pretty cool, pretty badass. I thought he looked menacing and intimidating, but we didn't really get to learn much about him. I think it was one of those cases where we could have really benefited from a 3-parter as opposed to a 2-parter. But for whatever reason, the staff doesn't want to do something beyond 2-part episodes. So I don't know why that is, but whatever. I mean, but it could have benefited from it. Too many Pinkie Pies. Like, I thought that was an okay episode, but it got kind of ridiculous after a while and kind of forced a lot of the humor. And then like the episodes I really loved in season 3, like, I mean, there was, what was it? One Bad Apple. I really like that one. Magic Duel. No questions about that one. I love that one. Sleepless in Ponyville. That was a great episode. Wonderbolts Academy. I love that one. Apple Family Reunion. I'm kind of 50-50 on that. Keep Calm and Flutter On. Love that episode. And of course, Magical Mystery Cure still is my number 1 favorite episode so far to this day for numerous reasons. So I think season 3 overall was pretty good, but it was still the weakest of the 4 we had because of the shortness of the season, and there was kind of like more of a 50-50 ratio of good to bad episodes. But there's no question it could have been better, but it wasn't horrible by any means either.
No, but it was.
And the fact that we had 2 Spike episodes didn't help.
Well, no, they got to stop making Spike episodes. I think we said that in a previous podcast. They really do have to stop making Spike episodes because they're all terrible. But seriously though, season 3, I'm not going to say it was like completely horrible, but at the same time, I'm not going to say it was the greatest. It doesn't even go above the average meh line for me, just because again, the only 2 episodes that I remember the most is Sleepless in Ponyville and Magical Mystery Cure. I mean, yeah, Wonderbolt's Academy, it was alright, and it showed that Rainbow Dash has potential, like, later on to become a Wonderbolt. They're continuing on with that now. But seriously, Season 3 to me literally felt more of, like, an entire filler season than it did anything else, just because of the fact that originally it wasn't supposed to go past 3 seasons, and I'm still convinced that no matter what, Season 3 was supposed to be the end of the series, and then when they saw how much money they were raking in from it and how popular it was, they're like, we can't end it now, so we gotta redo it. So, my theory is, the Season 3 we got wasn't the original Season 3, and that there's a bunch of episodes or scripts for episodes that just never got made because they quickly changed the season just so they could continue on in Season 4. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that thinks this way, because there's a lot of tie-ins between the comic and stuff that seem to suggest, because the comic timeline and the Season 3 timeline, they kind of overcross each other several times, and it seems that the comics are telling some of the lost stories. I mean, you can't deny that the comics had some of the better storylines than the actual season itself.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I guess so.
Oh, it's true. Man, we're out of stuff to say already? We can't be. We're only 20 minutes into this thing.
No.
Well, we got a lot more to talk about. We could talk about character interaction, return of characters like Trixie and Discord, other stuff, bunch of stuff we can talk about.
Yeah, but the return of Trixie and stuff, it was alright, but at the same time, I'm not a huge fan of Trixie like most people are. I think she's an overrated, pony. I find her more annoying than I do anything else, and I know I'm not the only one that feels this way, but I also know how much love that Trixie has, so I usually don't say too much about it. As for Discord coming back, that was kind of cool, but honestly, he's been a hell of a lot better and more awesome in Season 4 than he ever was. So,
that's true.
Him coming back in Season 3 was more of a novelty and a shout out to the fans than it was anything else. Because he didn't really...
Yeah, but one interesting thing that I want to point out is that I'm surprised you didn't mention that Keep Calm and Flutter On was one of your favorites, because it involved Fluttershy and Discord and all that. And although I do think it would have benefited from being a 2-parter as opposed to one episode we did get. But what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts? It was just an okay, average episode. It wasn't that great. I mean, you would think that I would put it much higher on my list because Fluttershy is my favorite pony and all, but Fluttershy does get bad episodes just as much as anyone else, and that one wasn't one of her greatest. So, again, it all comes back to the season just being way too weak. Mon, your thoughts?
I don't know. I'm still gonna say that I thought that most of the episodes were okay. I thought the only 2 episodes that I thought were weak, again, were the Spike episodes. But then again, the Spike episodes in any of the seasons, with the exception of Secret of My Excess, are pretty terrible. But I thought that Sleepless in Ponyville, and all the other stuff that was in that season, made it at least a decent season. Maybe not the strongest season because of its shorter length and, maybe not higher number of lackluster episodes. But, I mean, I thought it was okay. I thought that the fact that they had Trixie come back was a nice little thing. And I have to disagree that Trixie's annoying. Yes, she is annoying, but at the same time, I don't know. There's a lovable charm about her that I like. Because I don't know. I have, again, and this is weird, I have a headcanon that she had a less than spectacular past, and she's overcompensating for her, for her past, whatever.
I think Trixie needs to come back though, because I think there's a lot more that we don't know about her, and I think she could be good, a friendly rival for Twilight and others in the future. And at the same time, we could learn more about her backstory, because I still think there's more to her character that's left to be explored. I mean, as for Spike episodes, like usually I'm not a big fan of them, but I thought Just for Sidekicks was not bad. I thought it was decent. Like it was one of those filler episodes, yeah. But unlike Tradia, I found it to be a fun filler episode. I didn't find it as boring as because I thought there was more humor involved with him trying to take care of the pets and all the chaos that ensued from that. But you know, I just. And what about one thing we haven't covered yet? Like, what did you guys think about the songs, though? Like, I mean, I thought they were pretty good, like usual.
Let me think of the songs that were in that season. Anyway,
there was only like 2, and then the rest of them were in the final episode. And the 2,
oh yeah, that's right.
The 2 that they were all right. I mean, Bab Seed was a good song, but the rest of them, they were just kind of forgettable, really.
I thought Ballad of the Crystal Ponies or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty nice song. But my favorite probably has to be in the final episode, Celestia's Ballad.
Oh yes.
Cuz oh my god, that like it's the first time we get to hear Nicole Oliver singing in the entire series as far as I know. Yeah. But it was so cute to see like Twilight finally get, you know, fulfill her destiny. I mean, I don't know. I liked it.
It was.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I would use the. Oh, go ahead, Flutters. Go ahead.
It was alright, but at the same time, like the novelty of it wore off for me. I mean, it was good at the time, but the more I hear it now, the more I'm just like, this was more of a novelty than anything. It's not as rememberable as like the classic songs like Winter Wrap Up and all that. It can be easily forgot, or you just get sick of it after a while because you're just like, the novelty's more off now. So
No, I mean, I don't know if I would use the word. I don't know if I'd use the word cute for the whole scene. I was thinking more along the lines of epic and majestic, and just kind of like one of those moments where you have to sit back and look at, you know, how much Twilight accomplished. It's like, wow. And then when they put all those flashback scenes, and Nicole Oliver has this beautiful heavenly voice. She's just an amazing singer. I had no idea she sung. I was completely caught off guard. But that whole scene, and just looking back, it was like a reprise of every major event that happened in the past 3 seasons. It's like, wow. She really has come a long way, and this is one of those kind of watershed moments. Like, as a fan, especially if you've been there since the beginning, like a lot of people have, like, you just feel that feeling of pride. Like, wow, like she's really come a long way. Like, you know, she deserves this. You feel proud of like all the accomplishments and everything. Just the whole scene is one of those. The way it was done was just beautiful. But in other songs, I'm surprised that none of you guys really mentioned other songs like Bad, like, you know, like Bad Seed, or what was the other one? Oh yeah, and then also in the last episode, you know, True Friend, What My Cutie Mark Is Telling Me. Those are all great songs too, and I'm surprised none of you guys remember those.
We did mention Babsy, didn't we?
Yeah, I did.
I'm pretty sure.
I did.
Yeah, Flutters did. But I thought that there's like another song in there that I like simply because of all the different harmonies in it. Princess Twilight, the Princess Twilight Cometh song.
That one?
I liked that because there were so many different harmonies in that, and it was very like, you know, it was kind of emotional because, you know, we get to see Twilight actually like being coronated and everything, and like I don't know if that's just me or not. Who knows?
Surprisingly, that song was kind of forgettable for me, and you'd think I'd be all over that one. But I mean, it was a short little thing. It was appropriate for the context. It wasn't something for me that was overly like, you know, wow, this was amazing. But like the songs I love from that episode, you know, What My Cutie Mark Is Telling Me, True Friend. That one, not so much. Celestia's Ballad, and then what was the other one? Oh, what was the one where she's like sad and she's like lamenting that she can't help anybody? What's the name of that?
I had to find a one.
Yes, I love that song. Those are my favorites from that episode. And then going back to the first episode, like, what is it? Darn it, I'm forgetting the names of the songs now. But not Battle of the Crystal Ponies, but the other one that was done.
You're forgetting. You're forgetting.
There was another one.
The songs. Yeah. See.
No. I remember most of them. It's just that the one that she sung when she got the test to go to the Crystal Empire.
The failure succeed song, whatever.
Yeah, and then the reprise of that. I love those. So those are. I think there were a fair amount of good songs in season 3. Although there's far more in season 4, obviously, because we got more episodes. But still, I think season 3 was pretty memorable in the music department. I mean, as usual, Daniel Ingram was on top of, his job there. He was great as always. So definitely one of the stronger points of season 3.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. Getting back to the Spike thing, like, I don't know why the writers have trouble writing for Spike, or even going even farther. Why do the writers have trouble writing good Applejack episodes? What is it that's so hard to write for those two characters? What do you guys think?
They're background characters that they're trying to make main characters.
We're calling Applejack.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Oh dear.
Think about it though. Applejack does her best work when she's in the background more than she does when she's got the spotlight on her. I'm not the only one.
That's not so much the fault of the character. That's not so much the fault of her character. That's the fault of some of the writers not knowing what to do with her, though.
Well, that's what they said, because she's more of a background pony than she is a main character, and I still say that.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I do have to say, like, the only episode that I remember her getting in season 3 was Apple Family Reunion, and that was like her going nuts, and I'm like, like, I don't know. That was like she really kind of went over the top.
Yeah,
and
not as much as she did in Some Pony to Watch Over Me.
Yeah. See, you know what? I can't. I don't know. They really can't write for Applejack that well. They did well in season 1 and season 2, but then like something happened, and like.
They ran out of ideas. They're like,
They can't seem to separate Applejack from her family. Why can't they write an Applejack episode where she's solo, not with the main 6, not with her family? Like, she goes on an adventure or something just to find her way out of some predicament or whatever. Like, they could make her like this awesome, like really rustic, athletic, kind of like adventurous, like independent, like pony, and they don't really go that way.
They tried that with Last Roundup. But then,
yeah, but we all know what happened with that. Derpy stole the show and everything else, and most of it was the main 6 looking for her. Applejack didn't get much screen time.
Oh, that's because, like, whatever. Again, Applejack being a main character, I think, was an okay decision back, like, when it first started. But then as they went on, they're like, oh, fuck, what do we do now? Because there's not a lot. There's not a lot you can do with her. There really is.
They're running out of ideas for her because, like, even during testing, like, she's like, oh, all I know about is apples, and I'm like, oh my god.
Well, what should they have done? Should they have gotten rid of her character? Like, what should have happened? Like, way back.
They should have had her have a little bit more knowledge than just fucking apples.
Well, I don't know, because the way it's going, like, Flutters would probably have loved it if the Flim Flam brothers had won and bought their farm, and Applejack would have disappeared forever, and she got replaced with Vinyl Scratch or something in the main 6 or whatever.
Damn, man. Apple Bloom's more of a main character than Applejack.
Ouch.
Wow.
Sorry, Applejack fans. Flutter's just ruined your day.
You may address your death threats to my YouTube inbox where I will make fun of you.
Flutters, I think that you might also be hurting the feelings of a very good friend of ours whose number 1 main 6 pony happens to be Applejack.
Well, Carter, when you hear this, I'm sorry, man, but it's true. You'll have to deal with it, because I know you listen to our show. And congratulations, because you had your name dropped by an idiot. So,
for all you Applejack fans out there, #wrecked.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to have to go when I go to BronyCon and profusely apologize on behalf of Flutters for this comment. It's like, no, he didn't mean it. He was just trolling.
I stick by it. I know a lot of other people do. I'm serious. Like, Applejack, as a main 6 character, worked in season 1 and maybe in season 2. But after that, no. She does her best work as just being in the background. Don't ever put the spotlight on her. Ever. Just her and Spike having spotlights on him is about as pointless as if I took a flashlight and started shining it on my private parts and been like, hey, check it out. What? What?
Basically, you're saying it's something that no one wants to see.
Pretty all much, yeah.
Ouch. I don't know. Like Applejack is my ranked 5 out of 6 on my mainstays ranking, but I still want her to be around. I just think the writers just don't know what to do with her. I just think we need to find one of those writers who just is versatile enough to come up with an ingenious idea. Say, hey, let's apply this to Applejack, and then it works. Like I think I don't know. I keep hoping that something will change. Maybe in season 5, something, I don't know, some spark will happen and somebody will have an idea. I don't know.
I don't know. I really can't see them doing too much with Applejack's character. I mean, they could turn her into a full-on redneck. Now that I would approve of.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. That would not be good.
Applejack Rocket.
Okay, another thing that I thought was interesting that was introduced in season 3 is we learned a little bit more about Luna in Sleepless in Ponyville. Apparently, she can stalk you in your dreams. Like, what do you guys think about that? Was that a good thing to add to her character, or was that kind of...
Stalking my kids all the time, Luna. I thought it was cool. I thought that, like, she could, the fact that she can go into your dreams adds to, like, the whole idea, like, that, like, how Celestia sort of looks over everybody during the day. Like, Luna, can't really, like, advise people while they're sleeping because it's like talking to a brick wall. It's like, hey, you're sleeping, but do this. And, like, but instead of like her talking to sleeping people, she can just go into their dreams and talk to them that way. And I thought it was interesting that they expanded upon it in season 4, where they, with her being, her guiding Scootaloo and sleep. Well, I thought it was interesting that they did that with Sweetie Belle in season 4, and for whom the Sweetie Belle toils. I think that's a nice little addition to her character, and I'm not just saying that because I like Luna the best. But no, I thought it was nice because, like, it makes you think, like, how she probably has had this ability all the time. Like, what could she have done within the past? What is she going to do within the future? Like, it opens up a bunch of questions that are nice to think about.
Yeah,
I think so. Form somewhere. If Luna had the ability, if she had this ability all along to walk in Pony's dreams, does that mean that she foresaw her own future fate of becoming Nightmare Moon and she was not able to stop it?
That was my beginning question in that one episode. Damn it, you read my mind.
You guys,
so somebody else was talking about it.
You guys do know that her going into dreams was originally from the Brony fandom itself, right?
I think so. Yeah, if it wasn't a fic or so.
It makes sense that the fanon would have done that.
It was because of all the things that we wanted Luna to be. I guess somebody somewhere saw it. They just kind of wrote it into her character, which is a nice nod to the fans. But at the same time, as cool as it is that she can go into your dreams and all, it's kind of creepy at the same time too.
I don't think so.
No. Think about it. Okay, think about it from a debaucherous level here.
Oh my!
Suppose
still not creepy.
Suppose that you're having like a wet dream about like Twilight Sparkle or something.
Not me.
Well, we all know that you do, Ed, so that's besides the point. But suppose that you're having like a wet dream about one of your favorite ponies or whatever. Then Luna just happens to show up and she's just watching. That's kind of fucked up.
You know what? Don't care. That's sexy.
You admit it again on this show how debaucherous you are. So. Well, there you go. Confirmed on this show. Mon wants Luna to walk into his dreams so she can see him doing God knows what, and we'll leave it there.
That is just so messed up on the stories about that closet of yours are true, aren't they? Jeez.
No, let's not go there.
It's already been confirmed. Don't back away now. You already said everything. The cat's out of the bag now. It's too late.
Yeah.
There's nothing in my closet.
Yeah, right. There's nothing in my closet. There's nothing in my closet. That's why when you say, I'll be right back, then you disappear for a long time. Then all of a sudden we start hearing like... we start hearing like all these weird sounds coming, like, Luna, Luna. I was just like, what the f is going on over there, boy?
Let's get back to season 3 already.
What? This is season 3. Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? Is this the Flutter Brigade Roundtable episode 7, or is this the special show, the roast of Altron Mon? Because I'm not sure.
It's both. Oh. Well, I don't know. I mean, it just adds to the humor.
As far as season 3 goes, I thought the one thing that was kind of disappointing is that we only got one CMC episode.
Yeah.
Yep.
We could have easily took away the slots from the other 2 Spike episodes and gotten 3 CMC episodes instead.
Hell,
Yeah.
you could have took away the Spike episodes and the Applejack episode and got a CMC episode and at least a Rarity episode.
Oh, that's another thing. What do you guys think about not having any Rarity episodes in season 3? I know a lot of fans were upset about that.
I thought
Brony Curious was screaming at the top of his lungs. But
I remember.
but I don't know. It didn't disappoint me back then, but I think that season 4 having a lot of Rarity episodes makes up for it.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was.
And they've been pretty good too.
Yeah.
And then we've got Coco Palmel.
Oh God, yes.
Oh.
Hey, not in that way now. She's adorable. She's everybody's waifu. She's my second one after Twilight. So if something happens and Twilight gets hits with Flash Sentry, well, Coco Pamel, I'll fight everybody else. You're next. You're second. So if I have to destroy a bunch of other fanboys, I'll do so. But that's not the point. Getting back on subject, yeah, you were saying, Flutters.
The sheer fact that you two have pony waifus is so
I don't have a one.
Lies.
Oh, come on, Flutters. Don't get on a pedestal now. You know you have your own, too, so don't even get started on that.
No, I only chase after equestrian girls. Oh. Something about those Monster High rejects. It's just...
Doesn't make it any better, you dumbass.
The debaucherous levels are off the charts in this episode, that's for sure.
I blame you, and this guy sitting over here, which you can't see or hear, but I blame him too. No. But
you know what was adorable in season 3 though?
What?
The fact that Rainbow Dash and Scoots, actually established like a sister relationship with each other.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, that was definitely an interesting thing because I always assumed that like Rainbow Dash would eventually like warm up to Scootaloo anyway. It just seemed right that she would become like her stepsister or something, or kind of like the Big Brother program, but like big sister, sort of thing. It just works, and it doesn't feel forced in any way because I don't know, it just seems so natural and so right that Rainbow Dash could literally be Scootaloo's sister, and nobody's gonna be like, well, what the fuck? It just works.
Yeah, and the way that, that was the new writer for that season, Corey Powell. That was her first episode, and she hit it out of the park. And I mean, they just made it flow so naturally. It didn't feel forced or pandering to the fans at all. It just felt like it was a natural development based on how they wrote the story, which is just, that's good writing right there. That's what it is. That's the difference between an episode like yesterday's and then what we saw in Sleepless in Ponyville. But like, I know the whole fan would collectively dawed at that moment where she just wrapped her around the ring and they hugged. Yeah. Oh yeah. That was one of the more adorable scenes of the history of the show for sure.
So let me ask you guys a question.
What?
Yes.
What do you guys think of like season 3 being the point at which Celestia started falling away as like sort of the mentor figure? What do you guys think about that?
I thought it was the right move because honestly, how long could they keep going with the letters to her?
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I thought. Because, like, they kept doing the letters, but they did it sporadically throughout season 3, so I thought that was the right move. And, like, the fact that season 4 has been just more like they're writing a journal to themselves, sort of.
Yeah.
Works well.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it was inevitable that she would eventually fade away from the spotlight, and because I think it was evident, at least for me, from the beginning, that Celestia was priming, she was getting Twilight ready to eventually take over her position in some way. I mean, I didn't exactly see the whole, coronation thing coming, but I saw something similar to that. I didn't know exactly what it was, but I knew eventually Celestia would lose more and more importance throughout each season, and it was getting old. Eventually, they're going to run out of lessons and morals for the end of every episode. They couldn't do that forever, and at some point, they're going to come with some other dynamic of how to get that through. So I like how in season 4 they changed it to like the journal, and they're learning their own lessons, and really instead of learning themselves, they're through their own actions are teaching others through their own examples. So I think it was a very nice natural progression what they did there, going into season 3 and then season 4. Because if you remember in season 3, we only got 2 or 3 lessons. I think it was maybe only 2 throughout the whole season, where they actually wrote a letter to to Celestia. And then after that, we knew that something was going to change after that because there were so few of them. And sure enough, we all know what happened after the season ended. So, I mean, Celestia, we've only seen her once in season 4. She's going to come back in the finale, and I don't want to give any spoilers away, but other than that, we're not going to see her again. And who knows how little of her we'll see, if we see her at all, in season 5, because, like Flutters has said a couple of times, and it bears repeating, it's not a very well-known fact. Nicole Oliver is a guest voice actress. She's not part of the main cast, which is why it says featuring Nicole Oliver at the end of the credits whenever she's in an episode. So, I mean, I think we're going to see her less and less. She may not even appear at all in season 5, maybe once and that's it, or a cameo.
Well, you gotta remember, you gotta
her,
remember that she won't disappear from the show completely, because she does do Cheer-Lee too.
Yeah, that's true, but we haven't even seen her that much lately. I mean, there was a big gap from when we saw her briefly, I think, in One Bad Apple, and then we didn't see her again until like way up in season 4 and Flight to the Finish, and then we didn't see her again until Philly Vanilli, and we haven't seen her again since. So, I mean, she hasn't been around much either. So I think they're kind of phasing out Nicole Oliver for whatever reason, little by little here, which would be a shame because while Celestia isn't my favorite princess, I still like her. I mean, and I think that I always wanted to see a Celestia and Luna episode, but I think we all know that's never going to happen, sadly. But I think we'd all like to see that. But yeah, I mean, there's not much more they can do with her that they haven't done already. I think it's up to Twilight and the new generation and with the main 6 with the actual elements of harmony incarnate to take over and move things, move the ball rolling from here on out. So I think Celestia is slowly losing her power and her influence in more ways than one, and getting ready to kind of more and more surrender like her role to Twilight and all that, more or less, and Luna, because she's still pretty young compared to Celestia.
It'll probably be Twilight and Cadence that take over for both Celestia and Luna if the time comes, because they're the 2 younger princesses of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Cheer-Lee, did she even get a speaking pull in season 4? I don't think so. Did she?
I think she did. So. She did. She did once in Flight to the Finish where she was Miss Harshwini to everybody. If you remember that episode, she did have a brief speaking part there. She did reappear in Philly Vanilli, but she didn't say anything. She just fainted when she thought it was Big Mac singing. Of course, we all knew it was Flutter Guy, but other than that, she hasn't really appeared much.
Wasn't even the original Flutter Guy, though. That's the disappointment thing.
Yeah, I wonder what happened with that, contractual issues or something.
I don't know, maybe the original VA passed or something.
Another thing that I noticed now, thinking along those lines, we haven't seen Zecora much lately either. I mean, she appeared like twice in season 3, and she only had one major role in Magic Duel, helping Twilight deal with Trixie. And after that, she had a brief cameo in Just for Sidekicks, and we didn't see her again until, as a plot device in the season 4 opener with the potion. And then after that, we didn't see her again until a brief period of time in Philly Vanilli. So she's kind of disappearing off the map too. What do you guys think of that? Is Zecora? Do we want more Zecora, or we don't care if she disappears, or what?
Doesn't matter to me. It'd be nice to see her, but if we can't see her much anymore, that's not a huge deal.
Yeah, she's not really.
All I know is if they lay their hands on Luna and get rid of her, there's going to be problems.
No, it's not going to happen because they know what would happen if they did that. That was just April Fool's stuff and whatever. But I would have liked to have seen more backstory on Zecora, but I guess we'll never get that, unfortunately. But yeah. And I wish they would hurry up with the CMC and getting their cutie marks, but that's another story, so we don't know where that's going on. And I thought at least one of them get one in this season. Nope, hasn't happened yet.
Season 5. It'll happen. I got pretty good sources that say they're getting their cutie marks in season 5. But I won't.
Okay.
I won't reveal my sources because I'm too awesome.
Mm-hmm.
This has been not much of a discussion on season 3 as it has been everything else, but that's
well, it all kind of ties into it.
It all kind of ties in, but at the same time, it just kind of proves my point of how forgettable season 3 is. There's not a lot we can say about it because we're all over the spectrum here. I mean, even the fandom as a whole didn't know what to make of season 3. There was so many that hated it and thought it was the worst possible thing ever. And then there was others on the other extreme that loved it. Then there's ones like me that are just in the middle that don't know what to make of it. So,
well, I still have 2 things that I think we're worth mentioning that we haven't really covered. Like, one, what do you guys think of like King Sombra? Could they have done more with it? Could they not have done anything with it, or should he not have appeared at all? And then, like after that, we could mention what your most favorite, what your top favorite, and your least favorite episode this season was, like, and something like that.
I think Sombra could have been characterized more, but honestly, I don't know. I guess like having him as a cloud, this huge cloud of like darkness. Fart. Thanks, Flutters. Thanks for derailing me. No, having him as this huge cloud of darkness. Shut up! Okay, having him as this nebulous force was kind of interesting, but at the same time, it would have been nice for him to say something other than "my crystal slaves." Like it's like, okay, we get it. You like crystals and you like slaves. Jesus.
And apparently he likes farts too because he spent most of the time as a fart cloud. I can't let it go. I never could. I always saw him as nothing more than a big fart cloud.
A big, menacing, evil fart cloud.
I thought the only interesting part, like one of the interesting parts about the episode, though, well, that 2-parter, is the fact that like we see that one door that like leads to your greatest fears, and it makes you wonder what the hell was that used for? Like
torture and mind control.
Yeah.
Probably.
Like, what would happen if Mon went in that door? What would he see as his worst fear?
His closet empty.
That's it. I'm done.
That's what I'm guessing.
We'll do it live.
That's what I'm guessing he'd see. He'd see his closet.
Come on. There is nothing.
And if Flutter walked into that door and he saw his worst fear, it'd be Captain Kindness taking over as mayor of Brantford and making everybody making everybody praise and like worship him.
I don't think so. Besides, none of the viewers here are gonna know who the hell Captain Kindness is anyway.
It's better that they don't know.
Yeah, you don't want to know. He's just some douchebag who wears his underwear on the outside. I'm Captain Kindness.
Flutter shot and charity.
And what's your number 1 favorite episode, and what's your least favorite episode if you can only pick one of the season?
Favorite episode, Sleepless in Ponyville.
Yeah, Sleepless in Ponyville.
And then least favorite is Spike at Your Service.
Let's see. Sleepless in Ponyville is my all-time favorite of season 3. And then the worst episode, I gotta go with Spike at Your Service because it was so fucking terrible.
And for me, number 1 is Magical Mystery Cure, and not just of the season, but of the show. Least favorite, I would have to agree. Yes, Spike at Your Service. I think we're all pretty much in agreement on there. That was just a very passable episode.
Yeah, they turned Spike into a bumbling idiot. Whatever. Not to mention, he was just, I don't know.
Dragon is the greatest creature ever.
Yeah. There's more to him than just guarding treasure. The only Spike song ever. Man, G3 Spike got better songs. I mean, he got the whole song about him smelling like shit, which was that was more memorable than the It's true. G3 Spike, when they found him, was in the Princess Promenade. They found him under the castle. He'd been there for years and years and years. He smelt like shit. The ponies complained that he smelt like shit. He didn't feel that he smelt like shit, but they're like, we're going to give you a bath. So they sang a whole song about him smelling like shit, and that is more memorable than the dragon song that Spike sang.
The fact that you even know anything about G3 is sketchy in and of itself, but we'll leave that alone for another day. But, yeah, that is pretty sad. I mean, the only memorable scene of that episode for me was when, he cooked that pie and he wanted Rarity to taste it and you could tell it was burnt. And she takes a piece of it and, she just, throws it, she doesn't really eat it. She just, spits it out when Spike's not looking. It's like, oh, yes, it was great, Spikey boy. It was great.
It was burnt and there was weird stuff coming out of it.
Oh, but the better part about that episode was that we learned that Rainbow Dash is into people writing fanfics.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
She broke the fourth wall there, and that's supposed to be Pinky's job.
No, seriously though. Season 3 was just so. I can't believe we're doing a whole show on it.
It was your idea, but I do think that season 3 has some interesting points, and I think that finale really ended on a strong note, even though it was a cliffhanger. I mean, the one thing I still to this day don't understand is how come Twilight could fly really well at the end of it, but then in season 4 she's learning how to. And the theory I could think of, it's just whenever they're in a song, whatever's happening is not either not literally happening or it's just visuals for the song or whatever. And it doesn't really count.
I know the exact reason she could fly perfectly at the end of that episode. It was so she could show us her very creepy rape face, and that was the last thing we ever saw until
everything's gonna be just fine. Don't struggle.
Everything's gonna be just fine. Rape face. It's like I had nightmares for a week because of that. It was so awful. But then again, it's Twilight Sparkle. I'd have nightmares anyway. Ooh.
Yeah, well, you have no taste, so.
At least I don't want to get it on with a purple pony.
Hey,
oh my God.
Hey, coming from the guy that wants to get it on with the cream puff pony. Yeah, well.
Hey, what happens? Never mind. I'm not even going to finish that statement.
You got no reply because it's true. I will.
I am not like you guys. I am totally not debaucherous. Except always.
The worst out of everybody. You
know what? We don't have anything else to say about season 3. We can talk about recent events in the fandom.
Yeah,
we could
talk about the great convention of the West Coast, which is now the West Coast BronyCon, the ever popular BabsCon. Why am I talking like this? I do not know, but I blame Flutters. But the point is, getting back to my normal voice, yes, BabsCon happened, just ended today. As a matter of fact, as we're recording this, and it's gotten so huge, they got the entire main 6 voice cast, which has never happened. That was the first time that they got the entire main 6 in one together in the history of the fandom. So, congrats to the BabsCon people. I'm totally jealous, but great for you guys. But and Tara Strong was there, which she needs to come to the East Coast. But the point is that somebody was kicked out of that place.
Yep.
And yes, and who might that be if you want to?
Yes, that was. Drum roll, please.
Final fart.
Damn it, please. Final draft from Ep7.
He had
Why was he kicked out?
Wait, what?
He had it coming from what I've understood because he thought he was above the rules. So he thought the con rules didn't apply to him. So
yeah, from what I don't know if there were rumors that he shoved a woman or something like that, and that's why he got kicked out.
I don't know.
He might have been drunk for all we know. I have no idea. I wasn't there. I just found out about this recently.
But I'm not, like you guys said, I'm not surprised.
I'm not. I've never been a huge fan of the Everfree network anyway. I always thought that they were kind of egotistical bastards.
But yeah.
I just assumed it had something to do with the fact that EQD was there, because I knew that EQD and Everfree Network supposedly don't like each other for some long-standing feud that I never knew much about, but apparently that was not the reason he got kicked out. He did something like he disturbed the peace or whatever, and he got kicked out. Apparently he wasn't even supposed to be there or wasn't even invited to any game of his own accord, from what I heard. I don't know if that's accurate or not.
The thing
apparently people at BabsCon didn't like him or something. I don't know.
Oh, from what I've understood, I mean, I don't know much of the guy, because I don't really follow him that much, but from what little I do know, he's not that well liked throughout a lot of things, because from what I'm understood, he's kind of a douche.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't confirm this myself because I've never met him. I'm only going by what I read, and I can't believe everything I read, but I'm hearing it from multiple sources that Final Draft can be kind of a douche when it comes to some things, so...
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't help that he's in charge of what's supposed to be the biggest or the most, at least the wealthiest, brony, inside fandom media network,
outlet,
covering all that. Yeah, so I mean, because like for example, like they have a lot of cases are exclusive coverage of a lot of cons. They get contracts, different conventions or whatever. Not always, because sometimes there's others like Ponyville Live and others. But for example, they were at BronyCon last year. They had exclusive coverage. No one else was allowed because they signed the contract.
PVL got kind of shafted because of that too.
Well, that's because they got some kind of cash. I maintain they buy all their positions.
I think they probably did. I remember reading a forum about what happened behind the scenes of that, and that was one of the things they said. But I mean, it's unfortunate, but these things happen when somebody gets in a leadership position. They kind of get carried away, and they forget that they're not really above the rules, but they get carried away, and stuff like this happens. So hopefully, one of these days, he kind of straightens out and learns his lesson, and we can avoid this unnecessary drama, because goodness knows we get more of it than we need in this fandom for stupid things half the time.
Yes, pony politics cannot be pretty at sometimes.
Yeah, this fandom can have like way more drama than it needs at times. And this podcast doesn't help by adding to such drama, because of me and my stupidity. I'm saying that Applejack's background pony.
Yeah, but from what I've heard, I think that was the only big like hiccup during the con there. Like everything else went all right.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds like everyone had a great time, and I've seen a bunch of pictures and posts on Twitter.
Jealous.
Oh yeah, it makes me want to go to BronyCon that much sooner. It's like, damn it, why do you have to be 3 months away still? Why is it going by so slow?
I got 2 conventions that I gotta be at. One of them's not even pony related, and the other one there hasn't been any announcements of it, so I don't know what the hell's going on with that. But I know what you mean by why does it have to be so slow? Mine's in July, and it doesn't seem to be coming fast enough. Mond will be there too, him and all of his shortness.
Yeah, and while you're there, Flutters, you can tell everybody personally, get up on a podium and say, hey, Applejack's a background ponies. We can't write for her anymore. They should replace her with someone else, and see what happens.
No one will know what he's talking about, because a lot of them will be like, who the fuck is Applejack?
Nah. Oh, man, you want to get hit in the line of fire too?
Nah, it's not really a pony convention. I mean, there will be a lot of bronies there, but the main focus is comic books and anime and video games and all kinds of other stuff. That's just going to be...
Well, I was actually thinking about Cadillac Con specifically, if you were to get up and say
yeah, if you said that at Cadillac Con, oh man.
Which I might.
Fisticuffs!
I might actually do that at Cadillac Con, just because I can. I mean, it'll be a decision that I might regret later. But at the time, it'll be like, let's see how much trouble I can cause. Applejack's a background pony, deal with it.
And then suddenly, angry mob just going, and like, you're just like, oh shit!
Just like, shit, I didn't think this.
And suddenly they have one less brony than they counted on the visitor tab. It's like, we were missing one brony here. We don't know what happened to him, but
it's like you'll read on a questionnaire. Today in the news, local brony Fluttershy 1889 was killed by angry mob for. It's like, what the fuck?
Where's Applejack related? Oh.
Nah. If you said that No, if you went up to, oh god, no. If you went up to Seth, if you ever do meet Seth from EQD, and you say, Trixie sucks. Oh god.
I would love nothing. I would love nothing more than to do that. Actually, I really would.
Pray for your soul, because you would just be like, oh god.
He is a powerful person. He can make you disappear.
Oh. No, seriously though, that guy's Trixie love goes beyond Mon's love for Luna. Even they're both on their own creepy levels of creepy.
I didn't know you could go above Mon's obsession level, but geez, this guy sounds crazy.
Hey, let's not talk about Mon's obsession levels, because you're just as bad with your Twilight obsessions. You're both
not really.
No. You are.
I play a lot of that up just to play an act, okay? Kind of like when you do your act as your character.
Act as my character. I don't have a character. What the hell are you
Yeah, you do. Like when you're on here, you're Fluttershy99 when you do your online activities, but when you're offline in person, you're your own self. But the same way with me. I have my little acts that I play too. And that's part of it.
There's not much differences between the Fluttershy 1989 that's live on the air and the Fluttershy 1989 that's not on the air. They're almost the same character.
A likely story. It still sounds pretty sketchy to me.
Anyway, guess who else was announced for BronyCon lately?
Wait, nobody? Was somebody announced like in the last day? Because
Terry Claassen.
Oh, I already knew that. But yeah, Terry Claassen. He's the voice director of the MLP team, and he's the guy who tells all the voice actors, "Oh, you're too low, speak louder," or "Hey, can you tweak your voice a little bit?" That kind of stuff. And apparently, this is his first convention, so we should all welcome him, with open arms. And he should provide a very interesting, point of view of how the behind the scenes process works. So I'm excited that he's going to be there along with Daniel Ingram. I like how BronyCon is focusing on more not so typical con staple guests. Like we expect VAs and writers, but how many times do you see somebody working in a technical team or like in the music come to a con? Not very often. So when you do have it, it's great to have. So I'm looking forward to what they have to share with us. So it's interesting, I say, the roster there.
Yeah. But then watch like Rena Chan is there, and then like somehow I have to interact with her. Oh God.
Well, I don't think you'll be the same way because you'll be there with your girlfriend. So I don't think we can expect another freak out session like last time. But
I can see it happening.
But now, if I could see it happening with Tabitha St. Germain, I could see him doing that.
Yeah, right.
It's like, could you sign my autograph, please? I'd really love your character. What? I can't hear you.
It's gonna take an entire army to push that guy towards her. I know it is. I mean, he didn't even want to talk to Rita-chan. I had to force his bitch ass over there. I'm like, get your ass over there! Ow!
If I'm so fortunate enough to be there when the autograph lines are there, I will get Mon to go on that line, and I will take a picture or videotape it, or one of the two, or both. I don't know, but I must see this for myself.
Yeah. Anyways, I think it's time that we call this a wrap because we're just babbling on about anything now. So, join us again next week when we talk about something, because I don't know yet. We'll think about it. But as always, thanks for watching, and all the latest news about what we do and what we're going to be doing will be on our Twitter at Flutter Brigade, and it will be on our website at flutterbrigade.com. So thank you, and good night.
Sayonara, pony folk.